What's up everyone? Matt, Leighton, Shawn Battle. Welcome back to another real estate video. In this video, we're gonna be talking about iBuyers, the rise of iBuyers in the real estate marketplace. What are they? Where are they? And they're actually capturing a significant amount of market share in a few markets. So Shawn and I are gonna go through that. Shawn, how's it going today?
Good, Matt. I feel like the spring market has come around. It's September.
The spring market.
Yeah.
Sir, I need an explanation on that
So
one.
all of a sudden, so busy, running like crazy. I feel like our local market, the fall market is here, right? But it feels like the spring market. I'm running like crazy. There's a lot of listings coming up. So I feel like the fall market is going to be good for inventory. I think we're going to see a little bit more inventory and a little bit more options for your buyers.
So does that mean it's good for buyers then?
Not necessarily. No.
Not necessarily.
Because there's still a ton of buyers out there, so you're still competing. We just ratified one this morning, multiple offer situation.
Your seller ratified one, multiple offers.
Yep, seller ratified one. So the market is still unbelievably good, but inventory is starting to pop on, so which is good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good stuff. So guys, iBuyers. First of all, what are iBuyers? And it has nothing to do with Apple, even though it's kind of like the lowercase I and then the capitalized B. iBuyers. So basically an iBuyer is an organization or a business that will buy your house for cash. So essentially, you see those bandit signs out on the highway, right? You see, we buy your home in 7 days. There's a jingle on TV from some company. That's essentially what it is. And the biggest iBuyer in the game right now is a company called Opendoor. They're valued at $4 billion with
That's
a B,
insane.
$4 billion. And they've been buying up properties, I think ever since 2013 or so. I might have to fact check myself on that. And then, of course, there's a couple others. You have Zillow Instant Offers. You have Redfin Now or something like that. So we're starting to see more players in the marketplace of iBuyers. What's your initial reaction about iBuyers starting to get some momentum here?
My initial reaction, I'm not scared of them. I think that, for certain people, they're good. For most of us as buyers or as sellers, they're probably not for us, right? I think it's a niche market, and that niche market needs certain things, right? And so naturally, if you're these huge companies, there's a ton of people that are in this niche market, and you can gather them and say, hey, we'll give you cash, then that's for them, right? But when you're in, let's say you're in the middle market, right?
Define middle market.
So that middle market is
literally anything. You got to define.
Geographically, it could be, where we're seeing it geographically is more on the south and a lot on the East Coast, right? But also the mid-market is more like your mid-sales. So you're not at the bottom of the market and you're not at the top of the market in price range and need, right? So they're going after that mid-market, but also they're going after that little bit of a scare tactic in a way where there's people that need to sell, or what are you going to do with that gap in time when you need to sell this and you have to buy and your equity is sitting there.
Right.
And that's kind of what they're going after, right? But there's options. So I think there's definitely options. And what iBuyer stands, the I actually stands for instant. Most people are thinking internet or things like that.
I didn't know that.
Instant because it's instant cash.
Yeah.
They're giving you an instant offer, and that is really getting people for that reason.
So. I tried to put in my my home address this morning before this. Guess what happened?
Didn't come up.
Didn't come up. They're not in Arlington, Virginia. So when Shawn says middle market, in terms of price points, the average or median price point for Opendoor is anywhere from $200,000 to $250,000. So maybe right around that $240,000 to $250,000 mark. Zillow was a little bit higher. They were up around $300,000 to $340,000, but recently they've come down a little bit because they've just lost so much money on every single home that they're buying. And the margins, guys, the margins aren't that large for how much they're buying them for and then how much they're selling them for. So I think it's anywhere from like $9,000 to $20,000 difference. So if you're buying it, for $180,000, they might put $5,000 into it. You know, you put the old lipstick on the pig, right? And then you quickly get it on the market as soon as you can, because obviously holding costs can add up very quickly for these online companies. So like Shawn said, a lot of them, I think in Phoenix is the most prevalent market for iBuyers, where I believe around 6% of the market is purchased by an iBuyer type of company. And no matter what type of real estate market that we're in, we're always going to have sellers that need to sell in 7 days, right? There's always going to be a death. There's always going to be a divorce. There's always going to be a distressed seller. So I think that they're going to take a part of the overall real estate market. I don't know when that becomes 25%, but right now it's around the wholesale flip iBuyer market. I think it's around 8 to 10% right now.
Yep. I think it might even be a little bit lower, but it's gaining, right? It's gaining. The things that you want to think about, I think that a lot of people that would be attracted to this would be more people like end of life people, right? They're getting towards the end of life and they're just like, they're done. They just want to sell it. They have an old house that they just want to get rid of. Estate sales, things like that might be hot as well. But you know, there's things to think about this, and are you willing to do this, right? Are you willing to basically take a haircut on the price? They're not going to give you market value. They're going to give you under market value. So that's number one. Mm-hmm. Then number two, they're going to charge you fees, right? So real estate fees, you know what they range, right? What typical real estate agents are charging. But what I've read is these iBuyers can actually charge up to 10%.
I saw that.
So first they're going to give you a price that's lower than your market value. Then they're going to charge you up to 10%. Now here's the kicker, right? What they do then is they do a home inspection, right? And the home inspector is hired by the iBuyer, right? They're going to come in and they're going to be incentivized to find things wrong with this house, the house that they're buying. And then you have to go through the home inspection process. You're going to get a list of 50, 60 things. When we're negotiating, you know, we pick and choose and we say, all right, this is what we want to get for our client. But in some instances, they're asking for $10,000 at the home inspection process. And I don't know, I haven't read if there's a contingency in the contract, right? So what if you do you know this?
I know that they're not asking for repairs, but they're asking for money.
So yeah, so just know that every iBuyer is going to be different in how they do their processes. So there's Knock, which is big in Atlanta. Yeah. There's Opendoor, Offerpad. There's Zillow Offers. There's Redfin Now, and even agencies like ours are getting into the game. There's Coldwell Banker has Catalyst cash offers, right?
Literally never heard of that before, just now.
There's tons of them out there, right? Me neither, but I just researched. But what I'm saying is there's so many different models out there that every model is going to be different, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be careful on the paperwork you're signing and know that there's a fee on top of their first cash offer. There's going to be a fee, and then they're going to double get you on that home inspection.
Yeah.
Right?
It'll be interesting because I feel like you're paying for convenience, and when you go to 7-Eleven, everything is marked up, and if you want to sell your house in 7 days, you know, you're going to be paying for that convenience as well. Now, who does this hurt? I think first and foremost, it hurts wholesalers, right? It hurts those flippers because you know, you got to think, when you're a wholesaler and you buy a contract and then you want to sell the contract for like $10,000 more, how are people still doing that, right? I mean, there's a lot of wholesalers making a lot of money out there, but this is wholesaling at a monumental scale. So I think their business, you know, might be adjusted a little bit. As for real estate agents, well, you know, their price point is below $500,000. Great. So that rules out what? All of Arlington? Most of Arlington? Well, they don't do condos. Okay, that rules out, you know, the other half of Arlington. So at some point, you know, they've put in so many rules that your property's most likely not even going to qualify. That'll change eventually, right? They're going to loosen things up. They're going to figure out the best business model that makes sense. But right now, we're seeing this play out on a very, very small level at smaller price points, $200,000 to $300,000, and it's a sliver of the market, right? It's just
Right.
that small market. So,
I think you're right. I mean, it definitely hurts the wholesalers and the flippers. That's more of the market. That market has always been there. They've always been out there, and they've just become more prevalent. So I think it hurts them. It doesn't hurt the agents that what we do when we sell a property is we try to get the highest price that we possibly can for our clients, right? So if you're in the market to get the highest price that you can, this is not for you. They're not going to get you the highest price. They're going to get you one of the lowest prices, right? And then they're going to, so really what this is convenience. And hey, I mean, if you're in this spot where you just need to go, you don't want to show your house, you don't want people coming through your house, and you're in a market that takes 3-6 months to sell your house, then I can see that, all right, this is a pain in the butt. I just want to be done and I want to move on and, choose my own settlement date and move, right?
Yeah.
Then that's for you, right? If you're in Arlington, if you're in our local market or big hot markets where you're trying to maximize every dollar and your market's hot and you know that you can get multiple offers, you're not going to compete. You're not going to be an iBuyer person.
Right, and from an agent's perspective, I don't think it matters. Like, I don't really care too much about the iBuyers. It would be, amazing to walk into a listing presentation and have all these options. Say, yeah, let me play my iBuyer card and say, if you don't want to do anything, we'll buy it. But at the same time, a Maserati dealership is not competing with a Kia, right? So it's two completely different markets where you have sellers that need to sell immediately compared with a majority of property owners that have upgraded their property, that have made nice renovations, that want to get top dollar. And you're always going to have sellers that want to get top dollar and want to see what the fair market value is. So, you have the sliver of the market that we're talking about. It's going to become easier to sell your house instantly, but there's always going to be those transaction fees, maybe up to 10%, like Shawn said. So I'm not as concerned as it taking over a significant portion, just because we're in a market where our sellers need and want top dollar right now.
Yeah, and another thing to think about is algorithms, right? So they are using an algorithm to come up with a value of your house. We've all seen what algorithms do on Redfin or Zillow or whatever, and a lot of times they're overvalued and a lot of times they're undervalued, but they're gonna make their algorithms probably undervalue your house. Where they said that it makes most sense is where you're in a neighborhood or an area where most houses are the same. Right? The algorithm is much easier. When you're in an area like the DC market and I mean, prices change from mile to mile to, whatever type of property you're selling. So the algorithm is so much harder to dig down into.
Right.
So again, are you going to base it on an algorithm or are you going to base it on a comparative market analysis? And that's really it, right?
Yeah. It'll be interesting. Do you think that the iBuyers are going to move their price point above $500,000? And if so, when do you think that would happen?
I don't think they're going to do it. Well, look at their profit margin, right? To carry a $500,000 house is a lot more expensive. And if you look at the profit margin of, who was it, Zillow?
Yeah.
They made $1,600 on each
Yeah.
one. $1,600. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's really not a smart thing to do.
I'm pretty sure they lost $45 million in the first couple of months that they've rolled out this program.
Think about the risk,
That's
right?
a lot of money.
So you're buying in a market that takes 3-6 months to sell. That means you have to put in all that risk into your pricing and into your whatever, right? So I'm not going to hold a property for 6 months after I bought it for $500,000. That's a lot of carrying costs that you've got to build into that algorithm, and you've got to get that price lower.
And what happens if the market shifts, like everyone's talking about, and you're holding on to all these properties?
You're holding on to thousands of properties. They're doing thousands and thousands of deals every month, right?
Yeah.
So you're holding on to those. You better hope it doesn't change that quickly. So it's, it can be smart when everything's churning, when everything's good, right? But once everything changes, this whole model's going to change.
Yeah. Zillow's definitely changing their models. However, I will give them credit because what they're essentially doing is they're creating seller leads. So, everyone online that is in these are in these markets, a lot of people are putting their seller addresses, getting an offer and looking at it and saying, heck no.
Right.
Like, there's no way I'm selling. Well, now all of a sudden Zillow has, 20,000 seller leads that, they can sell to agents, right? Or they can get a commission split from agents, right?
Yeah.
So whether Zillow is buying the house, whether they are referring it out, whether they are, selling it to 3 different agents or whatever their business model is, they're not only eventually going to be making money on buying the houses, since they're currently losing money on doing that, but they could be making money on the advertising as well. I think their goal is just to become more of the transaction, right?
Yeah.
For so long, they're just advertising, right? Now they want to get closer and closer to the transaction.
Yeah, and one of the benefits, or one of the things they're trying to do, is make it all in-house, right? So
Right.
you say when you want to settle, they take care of the settlement, everything that down the line, so you don't even have to deal with multiple companies, you don't have to deal with multiple people, it's just one company getting you through it.
Yeah.
So it could be attractive. I can see both sides of it. If I was, in certain, listen, I'm going to sell my house, right? We've talked about this many times. I have equity in this house that I want to move forward to the next one.
Yeah.
Well, there's ways to take that equity out, and that's what people don't realize. And it's not by selling your house cheap and getting a cash offer, right? I mean, you can do so many different things, and if you have assets, you can use those assets. You can do a loan against those assets. You can take out of your 401k. As long as you pay it back, you won't be penalized. So there's a lot of, you can do bridge loans. Bridge loans are probably cheaper than what they're gonna, charge you on this. So think about that before you go the iBuyer route. There are a lot of different options.
What do you think about putting your own address into Redfin Now or Zillow?
You want to do
Offer?
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should do it.
That would be a cool case study video.
All right, let's do that. So we're gonna do a video on what they would offer us. We should just call them, get offers, and then when I sell my house, I'll show you what I actually got for it, and we'll show you the difference right there.
Yeah, that'd be a killer video.
We'll do it.
All right, guys, that just about wraps it up on iBuyers. If you like this video, be sure to smash the thumbs up button, and Shawn and I will see you in the next one. Take
Sounds
care.
good, guys. Thanks.